I wanted to talk today about one of the biggest mistakes I see baseball players make when they're playing catch, just simply playing catch. So believe it or not, over the years, I've worked with so many baseball players from youth to all the way to the big leagues, right? And there's some common themes that I think I've been picking up on. The way young baseball players or inexperienced baseball players play catch to get ready to get their arm loose versus some of the professionals and the big leaguers, right? Unfortunately, I've also kind of noticed some issues with injured and healthy players also playing catch a little differently. It seems like people that have soreness in their arm or that I work with an injury tend to all have a common trait with some of their some of the ways that they play catch. So I wanted to talk about that today and show you a little bit about that and give you kind of a quick fix on how I teach people to play catch. And I know this sounds crazy that we're talking about something so basic, but I think this is fundamentally important to cover with this. So the mistake that I see is simply on the first 2-3 throws, somebody is throwing almost as hard as they can, 90% effort at my knees, right, from 45 feet away. It's too early in the process. The arm's not loose. The analogy I tend to say is that's like saying you want to do some sprints today, so you literally just stand up and sprint. You don't jog. You don't get your body warmed up. Your legs aren't loose. It's not the best way to get your arm ready. Okay. So throwing a baseball is super dynamic, right? You know, and if you think about all the stresses that are on your arm while you're throwing, we have to make sure that we're gradually applying some loads to the arm before we start throwing with more intent, okay? So the simple way I teach it, I use a phrase that I think is super important, but I always say, let distance dictate your intensity. Okay, and what I mean by that is I want the distance you are away from your partner or the net or the wall, whatever you may be doing to play catch, I want that distance to be the reason why you're throwing with intent. So if you're throwing as hard as you can and it would go feet or dozens of feet behind your partner, right, then you're not really using distance to dictate your intensity. So the simple way I do it, I say if we're playing catch, right, and this is your partner, and you're slowly walking it out over time, and you're throwing for distance, let's say you're at 45 feet, 60 feet, 75, 90, 120, whatever it may be for your distance for that day, I want you to slowly add just a little bit of lob to the ball and slowly kind of warm up. And as you get loose, kind of walk back over time with a little bit of an arc on the ball. Okay? I don't want you throwing with full intent. I don't want you throwing on a line quite yet until you've reached your maximum long toss distance that you're doing that day. Okay, so if you're in the middle of a rehab program and you have a prescribed distance, then that's what we're going to use, right? If you're in a performance program or you're just getting ready for the season and you're long tossing max distance, that's fine too. Again, the same concept is you want to arc it out and let distance dictate your intensity. Okay, then once you're loose and you've let this arc gradually loosen up the arm, what I want you to do is I want you to start slowly going backwards now and bringing that arc down, right? So you see how we're kind of bringing it down on that first throw, bring it down on the second throw, bring it down on the third throw, whatever it may be, and then finally we're throwing on a line, right? Then you can move forward, throw on a line, move forward, throw on a line, move forward, throw on a line. You see what I mean? So for me, I think this visual does a good job for it. It's slowly arc it out, bring the arc down, and then throw on a line and move it back in towards your partner. Okay, so that's my easy fix for one of the most common mistakes I see with people playing catch is they're just throwing with too much intent too early before their arm's loose. So stretch it out before you start bringing it back in with intent, and I think you'll do a much better job not only being fresh for maybe your start that you're about to get into, right, but also hopefully reduce some of your chances of injury down the road and stay healthier for the rest of the season.